Guys, you don't need to choose between price and quality to get an amazing and affordable shave. DollarShaveClub.com is the answer. To prove how amazing their shave really is right now, they're going to give you your first month free to join the club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your door for a third of the price of what the greedy razor corporations charge. See why over 3 million members love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products. Now, you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, it's just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitment, no hidden fees. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Greggy. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Greggy. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Top of the morning to you, Greg.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you? Okay. You just looked at the lights that you just spent a long time fiddling with.
It's going to be one of those things where I have to try
You're
not
never
to look
happy
myself.
enough with it?
No, we're still kind of moving stuff around a little bit, trying some stuff.
Last week looked a little dark.
Yeah, we're trying to balance it out because...
It's because we were so tan.
Actually, I am tanner now than I was.
Fact.
But the... I want to make sure that when it goes to compression, it's not too dark. And that's what I've noticed on our shows a little bit lately. Like, set looks great, lighting looks great in the RAW, but then when it goes to compress, for YouTube, it goes to a pretty harsh compression, and so it's going to be a little darker on the tail end. So I want to make sure we fix that going forward. And it's hard. Thank you for your patience today, guys.
No,
it's hard not to do that. It's hard to do that when there's no one sitting in the seats. So.
Nick Scarpino has been against the darks for a long time. Over here, the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Why? You ever think about
Save
why?
it for your topic. As if your topic was going to be about tissues.
Why it's so ornate? Is it like supposed to trick someone? You put this on top of your toilet,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's a fine tin 19th century box." Yeah,
Well, you understand that,
$1.29 Kleenex box.
The Kleenex and the tissue companies have been chasing this for a long time because for a long time they were keeping grandmas in business because grandmas would make those little things they'd crochet and lay them over the tissue boxes. So the tissue boxes people thought ahead when we all started getting really lazy and made them like
Too many old people
Well, I
making
also
too much money.
think they
many
need
cooks.
to differentiate from toilet paper. You know, because why not just buy toilet paper instead and just put that on the thing?
It's so
and just use
soft.
that?
Nobody's putting
No, I
that
get
toilet-
that. I get that. No, people use toilet paper.
I do. I do. I'm just saying nobody's putting that out as like tissues for guests.
But I think that's why. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so ornate. That's why they sell it in this way. Is because you could just put it in a toilet paper-esque, design.
By the way, that's the pure one, Team Gettys.
Let's
Do you think that there's money to be made in the
Design of
design
tissue
of
boxes.
tissue boxes?
No.
Okay.
I think they probably their artist on staff is just overworked. He just cranks them out.
I don't think he's an artist. I think he does something else, and they're like, it's kind of like when we need to do something, it's just
Yeah.
like, can one of us do the designs? Like, I guess so. And then we get that brought to you by kindoffunny.com/store thing.
It's getting
Shout
there.
out to Nick.
That's the second iteration of that. The first one,
You couldn't see the
I
shirts.
was like, this is going to be a great idea. I'll put black shirts on a dark gray background with a drop shadow, and we'll just see, and people just kind of know what that amorphous shape is. And then I was like, this is much better. A white background with two black shirts stacked on top of each other. Still an amorphous shape, but you get that maybe one of them might be a t-shirt. Do you get that from that? There's
I
a
thought
crew
they were
neck.
gloves. I thought they were gloves doing this kind of thing.
They might be.
Or like, you know what I'm talking about when the players put up their gloves like that and they make one image. That's always cool. Can we sell gloves like that? Do we have enough people playing football?
I wish we sold gloves. I wish we had fingerless gloves and knuckleless gloves. Like from the 80s, the lifting gloves that
Sure.
like people
Oh,
in the
yeah, yeah,
Warriors used to wear.
We should just get UFC gloves and sell those.
That'd be amazing.
Did you
but
guys
just
know
the
that
smiley face.
Kevin, not only does Kevin knit, that Kevin once knit fingerless gloves.
Not once, like 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5
Those
times.
gloves that you're talking about, yeah, I can knit those.
He knits those. He is a warrior.
Like the bum gloves, like the ones that you always
Yeah.
see in like 80s when 80s homeless people
Bless
were
you.
on movies. You would
No
see they would always
fingertips.
have the knit gloves that had the fingertips look like someone chewed
The
them off.
fingerticks.
The ticks.
Are we just going to let that slide that Colin just did the most adorable sneeze I've ever heard?
He's holding it back. He knows he's doing a show.
But man, my God. I mean, I tried to hold back sneezes too my whole life, but like, I've never heard you sneeze.
1 to 10, Colin. How sick are you? Right now?
Choosies.
I'm coming down. Like I think I'm past the contagious part and like the kind of crazy part, and then kind of I don't feel well at all. But
So give me a 1 to 10.
on how well I feel or how sick I feel.
How sick you feel?
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty
6.
high.
That's pretty
I'm
high.
like really hot. Like
Well,
that's
you
how
are every day. We
Well,
know that.
I
There's
just
a
feel
picture of you.
feel like shit. I look like shit.
No.
But I was kind of anxious to get in here. I was kind of like wanted to do something this week, so I knew I could have stayed home. But what's the point? What am I going to do there?
Nothing.
Just like look at the
Be
ceiling
sexy.
or You know,
Just do whatever you
Portillo's
want,
there.
man.
You can play with him.
pet Lola. That's fun. Petting Lola's fun.
It's fun.
I can't hear anything. Like I feel like
You got
okay,
that
word.
nasty ass ear pressure thing. You're like,
when a plane was coming down from Seattle yesterday, I remember I was on the plane once with you when I had a cold, and I was like, I felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
Like when the plane was coming down, I was like almost about to cry.
I'll never ever forget coming back from a trip with Sam Bishop, formerly freelance for IGN for a long time, total PlayStation, and now works at PlayStation. And he was a row in front of me, and we were just landing. Everything was totally cool, and he just went and punched the seat in front of him. And I was like, "What the fuck was that?" When we got there, he's like, "Oh, my sinuses, man. I just out of the pressure is building. I couldn't take it." I was like, "That's fucked up. I've never seen that before."
I
haven't seen it since.
A weird way to handle that situation, but good
You weren't in his nostrils. You don't know.
You don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
You don't know.
There's very few things in my life that I figure I'm gonna punch something, but that's just me.
If you didn't know, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where we put the show up early every Friday, and you can get it by tossing us a few bucks, and you can also get a bunch of exclusive perks, goodies, and other things. If you have no money to give us, no big deal. Go to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video and MP3 the following Friday. Tim,
Yes.
start us off.
We just came back from PAX West, the first ever PAX West.
I don't like it one bit.
Formerly known as PAX Prime, forever known as PAX Prime.
Yeah.
We had a really good time. I want to talk about that time
Okay.
because I'm upset that some of those times were not recorded.
Okay.
People will never know what really happened on those
Sure.
times. So I want this to
Sometimes
be
the footage needs to be lost.
like the urban legend. You know? I want
yes.
to tell the tales so that people can pass this down from generation to generation. There might not be video footage, but people will always have,
This.
what their ancestors
It's like the
told them.
Tenacious D song about the greatest song in the world. That isn't the greatest song in the world, but
Right.
them talking about the greatest song in the world. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So again, jokes aside, I'm really proud of this PAX.
Yeah.
I feel like we killed it. Round of applause for us. Yeah. And shout out to you guys for being super awesome and showing up to every single thing that we did.
Best friends were amazing.
Which this year was a lot.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
At conventions over this last year, I feel like we've really refined like what kind of funny at a convention means. And I think that especially with this PAX, we're like nailing it.
Yeah.
Having the Rooster Teeth booth be kind of like our home base is super nice because there's a place for people to go, buy merch, see us, do signings and all that stuff. While we're not at 10.5 million panels. And I want to congratulate you, Greg, because I think that you did a really, really good job hosting all the panels, but specifically the Kind of Funny panel and the Let's Play panel with Bruce Green and Jeff Ramsey.
Right.
That's where I want to start.
Okay.
Walk us through where your head was at
Sure.
and what the fuck happened.
What I like about the Let's Play panel, and what is something I don't get to do often enough, I feel personally, is that usually I'm moderating the panel or it's one of our panels, so I have to host the panel or be on that. Usually when we do a live panel, I'm the guy who has some kind of battle plan for what I expect to happen, even if it is just talking about optometrists. Let's Play panel, that's on Jeff. Jeff's in charge of the Let's Play network. I can just show up and do whatever I want. So that's what we did. Beforehand, you and I went out. We went out on a triple date. You, me, Grimecraft. We drank a few drinks there. Maybe a few more than a few. Mm-hmm. Then we said, I said, I'm going to bring beers to this thing. I'm going to bring some beers to this Let's Play panel. I text Jeff, and we're going to be late because we're picking up beers. He said, thank God. I was like, we're making the right choices here. And so then we did the search for any alcohol store that'd be open, found one in a mall. We're in there. Every other store in this mall is closed. I'm like, there's no way this is going to work out.
There was what was it called? Wine Club?
We get up there. There's a wine club store up there.
Wine Club on like the 5th floor of this mall.
I'm like, this is
Still open.
This is a bad move. They're not gonna have it all what we want. We get in there. I'm like, do you only sell wine? Like, do you sell bourbon? Do you sell hard alcohol? She's like, no, but we sell beer. And I was like, perfect. You nailed it. All right, great. And they only sold them in individual bottles. So we went over there and just pulled out 1 million different bottles of beer and bought 1 million different bottles of beer, bought a bottle opener. Gia and the girls got a bottle of wine, and we got some solo cups, as you do. And then we went to this panel. And as I'm walking with all these beers, it dawns on me that this could finally be my chance. Because you know, Kind of Funny Live 2. Kind of Funny Live 1 even. You made a big deal about entrances. It did happen. No video proof. You made a big deal about the video entrances, right? Go wide so they can see him blush, Kev. Come on, keep everybody involved in the show. Over there. There you go. Thank you. Good job, Kev. But the entrances are a big deal. As I said at the Let's Play Live panel, we start the Let's Play Live panel, we go through, and I immediately then stop the Let's Play Live panel so I can do my entrance. There was a little wrestling federation that could, out in Philadelphia, called ECW.
EC Dub.
Thank you very much. big ups to Paul Heyman. And I love DCW. And I watched DCW. And the man who had the best entrance, of course, was the Sandman. Because what the Sandman did, and Colin, you remember the Sandman, correct?
Yes.
Do you really?
No.
God damn it. Sandman, also known as Hardcore Hack when he briefly went to WCW and then got out of there and came back to be Sandman, was just a bleach blonde guy. Got a body like he drank a lot of beer because he drank a lot of beer, and he'd be drunk on the way to the ring. Because what he would do is enter through the crowd to Metallica's Enter Sandman. There you go. And when that song came on, you knew it was fucking popping off, and everybody would look around, and Sandman would be entering from the rafters with his kendo stick, which is that wooden cane you beat people with, right? And then his pockets would be filled with cans of beer, usually Budweiser and stuff. Now, to be clear, he was doing this before Stone Cold was asking for beers. Like, and he does it to an extreme.
And then he went and he would shotgun one, right, and be like, and then
that's Stone Cold. No, yeah, that is Stone Cold, right? No, but that's not what Sandman's doing.
So
now.
Sandman was the person who you're saying would originate the Stone Cold Stunner.
No, I'm not. That's not at all
he
what
just
I'm
called
saying.
it the Stunner, the Sandman Stunner, the SS, and then Stone Cold was like, no, we'll still keep SS, but we'll put a C in there, and it'll be Stone Cold Stunner.
And so Sandman would come to the ring with his pockets just packed with Budweiser in a can or whatever, any kind of beer in a can, right? And what he would do is he would come out and he would drink it, and then he'd slam it against his head, and he would slam it against his head hard enough that he would cut his own head open before he got to the ring, so he'd already be bleeding by the time he got there. But what he would do, Colin, to take it up a notch, is that he'd be walking through the crowd, everybody's around him going, and he's freaking out, he's doing this thing, and then he would take them out and he would point at people, and if they were like, yeah, he would go like this and pour the beer into their mouths while he drank the beer as well on the way to the ring. And he just had a million beers in his pockets.
He had 2 beers.
Multiple beers
He
in his
poured
pockets.
one into the mouth.
Yeah.
And then also drank it out of the
No, Nick. Why would he do it like that?
I don't know. I don't understand
he would drink
why he
one,
would do any of this, to be
Because
really
it's
honest.
awesome. ECW was pomp and circumstance, all right?
it
It
was.
was hardcore. It was the anti-establishment wrestling movement.
Yeah.
We had Sabu. We had Taz. We had RVD.
Yeah,
the
The
Stone
whole
Cold
fucking
Stunner.
show. We did. Stone Cold did wrestle there. He was just Steve Austin though. He wasn't. Okay. Anyways, so this is what Sandman does.
The
Colin.
story's still going on. Yep.
Oh, we
Okay.
haven't even gotten to the PAX part of it yet. So
I can't even believe that this story is still actually going on. Let's
I'm just trying to educate you. You've been so great about teaching me about Thomas Jefferson,
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
horses
love
he
teaching
rode.
about
All right,
Thomas
I'm
Jefferson
trying
rode a
to,
ton of.
I'm just trying to
horses.
teach
He
you a
was
little bit about
he was an equestrian.
Sandman.
Thomas Jefferson.
He was.
And as a quick aside, if I'm lying, I'm dying about Sandman. And why you should really respect him is he once did this angle. Colin, where he got blinded in the ring, and he refused to drop the act. So he wouldn't even leave his house. He wanted people to really think he was blinded. He wasn't really blinded though. He came out and just caned the shit out of people. Anyways, so
Like a blind samurai.
exactly. So he wasn't blind though. He at this point was
Just like a blind samurai.
If he was blind, how did he get the beer into people's mouths when he was pouring the beer?
but it was all fake.
Was
And
it by
when he
feel?
when he
Did you feel
Stop
something?
touching me! I'm talking about Sandman. Respect is earned.
I respect you,
by
Greg.
Sandman. So, anyways, I thought I was drunk. I had this idea. When we got there, I asked Bruce, "Do you have Spotify?" No. I'm like, "Can you get access to the Enter Sandman?" He said, "Yes." And so, and I said, "Jeff, when you introduce me, I want to do something." He said, "Okay." And so we got there, and they were like, "All right, this is the panel." And I'm like, "I've always wanted to do something," and I explained everything I just explained, not in as much detail. I didn't want to bore the crowd. You know what I mean? Just as much detail?
Just as much detail.
My
the
apologies.
granular amount of detail about.
I wanted them to respect
Sandman.
Sandman. And so what I did is I walked out into the crowd when Bruce started playing the music, and I sat in the back. And they knew I was there. They knew I was there though. I sat in the back, and then I waited for when the music kicks in, and it kicked in. I popped up with
After
my
5 minutes.
with my beers.
Because as we all know about the Enter Sandman theme song, it lasts forever.
Yeah.
And ever.
But people
and
enjoyed
ever.
it.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I popped up. Everybody went crazy. They all stood up.
Great
I
time.
started chugging my beer, and then I started climbing over the rows of chairs. And this has been captured on film before for the Sandman and now myself, where Sandman would tap somebody on the shoulder. See, Kevin, when my hand's off, you should be in the wide shot. If you want me to come over and fucking host the show and direct the show, I'll do that as well. See, this is wrong. You're doing it wrong. What do you want more? Want more information? Because what the Sandman would do and what I would do is ask, "Are you 21?" And then if they mouthed yes, they could get the beer. Because again, if you lie,
Sounds ironclad.
if you lie on camera, that's on you. That's not on the Sandman.
I think that's
or
a
me.
law. Yeah.
So I did that. Walked there, pouring beers in people's mouths. I did tap a few people. I'm like, "Are you 21?" They said no, and I was like, "Well, thank you very much for being honest." And I'd move on to
They
the next
looked
person.
horrified.
One girl, for some reason, said, She's, are you 21? She's seen 3 or 4 people get the beer all over in their mouths mostly. You know what I mean? Are you 21?
It was
or
not
whatever?
mostly
in their mouth.
There was some that got in the mouth.
They mostly got
some
in the
did.
mouth.
I was doing it accurate to the Sandman.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm not blaming you.
Thank
I'm
you.
just like these people. Like they didn't expect that.
When they left, but that's why they could have said no.
Oh, I know.
The one girl though, she's like yes, and then he had her mouth open, and I went to, and she closed her mouth and her eyes and just let it go all over her face.
Well,
and I
she
was like,
stood. So she also stood on the chair. So you guys were like raised.
Yeah.
So we could see both of you clearly.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like
let it shower on her.
just bathed in it as
Yeah.
you just poured this beer.
Yeah.
Poured 2 beers on her actually.
Yeah.
That was special.
And then I ran, but then the downside to all this, Colin, of course, these are bottles, so I couldn't smash them on my head. So I still don't feel like I've nailed
downside.
the Sandman entrance. I will redo the Sandman entrance at some point. Just a heads up. Yes,
Next time,
questions.
try.
Questions from the
Not
crowd.
questions, just more of a comment.
Yeah.
You could have smashed it on your head, and you should try next time. Just take
Both
yourself
of
out of
them
the
at the
game.
same
Yeah,
time.
Just
We cut
Great
Gus with a
done.
fake one. I'm not going to use a real one. So that was how we started the panel.
Is this entire topic supposed to be about PAX or just the Sandman entrance specifically?
I think it should just be about the Sandman entrance and
that's
Sandman
it.
factoids.
Yeah, I mean they're one and the same as far as I'm concerned. When the people that were there think back to PAX, the first ever PAX West,
Yeah.
they're gonna remember enter GameOverGreggy.
Well, I know
'Cause
that
he came through and
I know that the enforcers
broke
are going to
glass
remember.
everywhere.
Yeah, I know the now again. I didn't break the glass.
he didn't start the fire.
It was always burning
Always burning.
since the world's been turning.
not so
Harry
sure.
Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray.
So that's how we started that panel, and then that panel went amazingly.
What
Millie was
else
there.
happened? What else
Jeff was there.
happened in that panel, Greg?
There was a lot of good conversation. I think we talked a lot. We answered a lot of questions from the audience. For some kids had some questions. We answered those questions. We continued to drink.
Yeah.
Millie was funny. Jeff kept telling her to put earmuffs on because then he would curse or talk about anal sex or something.
Yeah.
And that would be those things.
Or how he lost his virginity.
Yeah.
That was a big topic of the night.
Right.
Was virginities and when people lost them.
Yeah.
And yeah, calling people out for maybe not losing them yet. Then there was deep throatings going on.
I mean, that's an exaggerated story of what I did on that part. Like, I think you guys are making a little too much out of that one personally.
I wish we had that filmed.
Wait, is
'cause
this when
that
you decided
fucking was insane.
when the beer was erupting and
Yeah.
you decided that instead of putting the 2 beers that were in your hand down, you said the only thing I can do to stop this eruption is stop it with my mouth.
Right.
And then you said it's not enough to use just my mouth. I have to get this as close to my stomach as possible because everyone knows the straightest line between point A and point B is your throat. So you
it's a
deep-throated
there are a lot of bartenders watching. I'm sure Ed
Yeah,
Castro is
sure.
walking. You know this. When you put a beer bottle down too hard and it starts to foam over,
Yeah.
you can put your hand on it. The carbonation's still there. It's still fizzing underneath the surface. You can let it go everywhere, but then you waste a lot of beer. So yeah, what I did is drop down and covered it with my mouth. And then to finish off the carbonation faster, I went up and down and up and
Yeah,
down.
you
a
gotta
few
get
times.
up and down on it.
It's just
Yeah.
the normal thing. It's how you get rid of it.
And
You
then
don't want to be there all day.
I don't remember
You
the
got shit to
segue,
do.
but at some point you and Bruce then fell behind the table.
Again, Bruce grabbed me and pulled me down. Everyone's trying to. Here's the course of events with the broken glass. Everyone keeps trying to push on me. Is the fact that first off they have your bottles of water at PAX are glass, which is
there was
dumb.
more. There were more like vases. Of
Yeah, it's a
water.
dumb idea. No, the vases are the silver ones that are impenetrable. Those are fine. But then they have these like fancy ass things you pop silver tops off and you go. Okay, whatever. That's a stupid move. Now again, I don't like that I'm being thrown in a bus for this. I'm there having quite the panel. Probably the panel performance of my life, if I'm being
I
honest.
agree with you.
And Bruce Green from Funhouse here at some point, and I forget the transition as well, grabs me to make out with me and pulls me on the ground.
I'm gonna put this, on video now. You're wrong about that chain of events, Greg.
Educate me.
You definitely. He made some reference to being a power bottom,
Yep.
which
That
apparently
was
was
it.
a thing at the Funhouse thing.
Yep.
And then you then looked at him and. No, an audience
He
member.
doesn't even know, ladies
No,
and
I do.
gentlemen.
I
He
do.
doesn't even know.
You guys had
I
an
rest my
audience member
case.
come up, and you demanded that he kiss Bruce on the cheek.
Yeah.
Bruce then
Made him kiss me.
swerved you
Yeah.
and had
Like
him
Superman
kiss
2.
you, and that's when you pulled Bruce down.
Yeah.
That's when you guys were back there. You popped up without your shirt on.
Yeah.
Then
and I hadn't broken anything yet.
I think that might have been when the first vase thing fell, shattered, and everyone was very surprised. But then you were then pulled down by Bruce.
Thank
so
you.
you do remember some of that correctly.
I mean, this is also one of those things of like in a car accident.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own perspective. Which one's right? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
no way. You have to
There's
go
no
out-
one in the world that might know what exactly happened. That's what I'm saying. This is the
Colin,
urban
you've
legend.
done some amateur insurance. You know that when you go to a car accident scene, you got to look for like the tire marks, the skid marks, where'd they go. You put down the berries on it to see how they
It's
roll.
like in Fast and Furious 4 when Vin Diesel just like saw the skid mark and was like had that vision.
that was based a little
of
bit
what
on Colin's
happened.
amateur insurance
Still
career.
alive.
And that vision included Michelle Rodriguez getting shot.
Yeah, he could figure it out. He smelled the gunpowder
Yeah.
and where it originated from, and he knew that the person was holding it approximately like 6 feet above the ground, and he figured out that it wasn't Letty shooting; it was the other guy that was shooting. And then he crammed that guy into another car with his car. End scene.
Yeah.
End scene.
Now, here,
So I-
one time Sandman fought Rhino.
What color was Sandman's hair? Because that's what I really wanted to know.
Bleached.
What if you had to describe it
Bleach blonde.
in like,
Guy Fieri.
painful detail?
Guy Fieri, but not with like spikes and stuff. He just had it bleached.
This isn't painful enough. The level of detail isn't painful enough for you.
I'm just saying I would like a little bit more to flesh out
It was
the
a
image
great
of
panel.
Sandman.
It was.
Then we put Kevin up to answer all the Q&A. And he did a great job,
Well,
too.
I mean, yeah, I mean to keep going. So then Bruce pulls you down, then you pop up in your underwear.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I understand how
At
comedy-
that point, another glass broke.
I understand. Well, and at that point, I
lot
did
of
worry it
broken
was
glass.
Stone Cold. When you hear the glass, it's your ass.
You were like, uh-oh.
This is it.
He
He's
might be
here.
coming in. He didn't
Yeah,
come
yeah,
in.
He didn't come in.
But then yeah, at some point Jeff asked Kevin to come up, so Kevin
Yeah.
came up and
Yeah.
everyone else left.
Yeah.
And it was just Kevin up there alone. Broken glass everywhere.
People pissing on the stairs, they just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic panel, and the people that were there had a blast.
Now, if I can give you an epilogue to this story, Colin, I had perhaps
Please do.
I had
Yeah,
perhaps
why
the
not? You
best
gotta
joke that'll
round it
never
out.
be last night at the airport. Because we're all sitting there waiting to get on the plane. And you know how I am. Sometimes when I get a gem, I can't hold back my own laughter. You know what I mean? It's so funny to me that I know it'll be funny. It would have been the funniest thing of all time. And what it was I was sitting there. Tim was there. Kevin was there. And I came up with probably my joke of the century. And what I was going to do is turn to Tim and say, oh, hey, I already told Kevin this. I don't know if he told you. John Cena's over there. And then Tim would have been like, what? And hopefully Kevin either wouldn't have heard it, which would have been my A plan, or B plan, Kevin would have been like, yeah, totally. And then Tim would have gone over there and looked for John Cena and not found John Cena. John Cena would be over there just chilling out.
Yesterday was really rough for us at the airport. There was a 5:00 flight to San Francisco that was just straight canceled. Luckily, we were not on that flight. We were on the 7:30, but we had to deal with all the people that were
Trying to get
supposed
on that
be
7:30 flight, yeah.
It was just utter chaos. There was people everywhere. No one was happy. It was a disaster. But Greg with the heart of gold,
Held it down.
Thinking of quality John Cena jokes. I
Yeah,
don't even know
yeah,
if that
it
would
was.
qualify as
It was.
quality or a joke, but you know.
But it could have been. Think if that plays out the right way. You walk over there, you're looking
expect
for
that-
John Cena.
But here's my thing. You know, really,
Yeah.
Tim, John Cena's over there. You think I'm going to be like, well, golly darn, I need to go see this Mr.
I think you
Cena.
would. You
I
would wanna
not-
go see
I
him.
would, from where I'm standing, I might give it a, that's it.
I'd be like, I'm not even really
That's why I wouldn't have done that for you. I wouldn't have done it.
If it was CM Punk, I would have gone over there and been like this.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. Saturday night.
It's gonna be something.
So funny, well, it's not an anecdote. It's just it's a thing. There was a 7:30 a.m. LA flight out of Seattle on Virgin America, also canceled. Something's going on.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah.
The San Francisco flight
Smells like
Smooth.
Alaska.
The second thing is the one thing I was disappointed. I don't know what happened at the panel. I'm glad you had a good time. The one thing I was disappointed is you called me because I really didn't want people to think that I was even in the proximity of PAX, really, except for like some little things, whatever. I didn't want to ruin any sort of surprise. But then I also realized that the next day, I'm like, how could you have not known? I mean, you out there, that I wasn't going to be at that panel. You know what I mean?
Because that's such a Colin thing to do. If you're catching up, Colin was in Seattle for the Dave Matthews Band concert. And so the
DMB.
plan was hatched. DMB, I apologize. The
Gorge, beautiful venue.
The plan was hatched, DMB at symbol, the Gorge. The plan was hatched to bring Colin on the Kind of Funny panel and not tell anybody who was going to be there. Have it be a surprise. And it worked. And the point is that why would we call you? Tweets were already going out that you were at the Sheridan bar. And that is such a Colin Moriarty thing to do. It is such a Colin Moriarty thing to do, to come to one of the biggest video game conventions in the same town and not have anything to do with it. So that's why there's nothing we could have
That is a
done.
good
You
move.
had
It would've
said
been a
you
better
weren't
move. I
going.
shouldn't
You
have
had said on Colin and Greg Live all these things that you weren't going.
Well, I kept lying. The power
Yeah,
of lies.
exactly. Oh yeah, the power lies big time, and that's what you're supposed to do in that situation.
would
It's
love-
the David Jaffe method. Oh, I won't be at E3. My game's not getting it, and then it is, and people freaked out. And even when we did the panel, and again, thank you to everybody who came out to be part of that panel.
That panel was fun.
That was a huge audience.
That panel was filmed.
We had
It
a-
will be uploaded at some point in the
Exactly.
future.
Yeah, and it was a big room, and we filled it way more than I thought we would. It was crazy. And so when you came out, there was a huge cheer. Everybody was excited. We talked shit about you, acting like you weren't there, and how you wouldn't be there. People were still, they bought in, hook, line, and
I
sinker.
already talked a
man.
little shit about me at the Let's Play panel. You don't remember it, but it,
I mean, I talk a little shit about you everywhere, Colin.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You got to keep me alive in the memories. of the
Exactly.
people.
I'm doing.
When
I'm,
I die,
I'm,
make sure to keep
I'm
talking
keeping
shit
it
about
going.
me.
I'm keeping it going.
Yeah, good.
But how was your panel? You don't travel with us as much, right? So, had you? It was PAX last year. You were at? I forget.
Yeah, I was at PAX last year.
All right. Cool.
PAX was fun. I mean, I only went there for a day, but it was the ironic thing is I said is that I was already sick very early in the trip, so I didn't even get my. That's the fucking bullshit. I didn't even get the sickness from PAX.
But that's a good thing, because
Yeah.
then we never would have heard the end of it. If you had been like, oh gosh, I was only PAX for an hour and I got sick.
Yeah, I was getting sick 2 days before I even stepped foot on the floor.
Yeah,
but it
thank
was
Fucking Dave Matthews.
but it was yeah.
Won't you?
Man, that bus ride was
Tell me about that. I want to know more about that.
So Aaron's a huge Dave Matthews fan. It's a religious experience for Dave Matthews Band fans to go see them at this place called The Gorge. It's this beautiful venue in like the middle of Washington, and it's like an amphitheater that overlooks this like huge canyon. It's a ridiculous place, in a good way.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I'm like it is in the middle of nowhere, really personified. You know, like we drove in the middle of nowhere for 2 hours before we even got there, and so I'm like, you know, it was a fun place. But I'm like, man, they really went out of their way to put this place where it was. But they end their tours there, and it's supposed to be like a big deal. And I'm a big music fan, and I like to do the, you know, for 311 fans, for instance, it's a religious experience to go to 311 Day, and everyone should do that once if you're a 311 fan. And so she's seen them almost 40 times, and I wanted to do this for her or whatever. She was never able to do it. So back in March, the tickets went on sale, and the tickets sell out very quickly. So I just randomly bought a day. There are 3 shows in a row, and actually people go and camp out, and most of the people stay there for all 3 shows. But I just bought one ticket, not knowing what her work schedule was going to be, and then kind of winged it. And then we found out later that PAX was going to be that weekend. So I was like, well, that's unfortunate because I would have gone to PAX. I actually like PAX and PAX East. So she organized this bus because you have to go or you have to drive, and we didn't really want to do that or whatever. And the bus was it was full. Everyone was very nice, you know, the bus, but it was just full of all sorts of different kinds of people just drinking and
Are you doing the drugs?
getting inebriated or whatever. I didn't see any drug use on the bus.
No drugs.
I'm sure
Drugs are
there
bad.
was copious drug use absolutely at the show, yeah. So the bus ride it took us like almost, I want to say it took us like 5 hours to get there.
Holy shit.
Because it was a lot of Labor Day traffic going up. Back it took about 3 hours.
They got bathrooms in this bus?
Yeah, they had a bathroom in the bus. I peed like when we were going like 70 miles an hour, and I'm all like, and there's actually like a funny picture of a guy like, there's a guy like this with a cowboy hat on, and it says an X through it, and then a guy sitting down on the toilet.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, I understand what you're trying to tell me. I learned the hard way.
Did you sit down from there on out?
No, sure didn't. I took a shit in that toilet too.
Sit
By the
down,
way,
man.
sidebar, took a shit on the plane on the way to Seattle for the first time in hundreds of flights. I haven't
Yeah.
taken a poop on a plane.
Yeah.
But I had to go. I had to do it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, the show
Wait,
was...
what was it? So how was it though? Was it fine? Was it as bad as you remember? Or was it everything went fine?
what?
The poop on the plane.
Oh, no, it was fine. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
fine.
Double
it was
side
it was
note.
a relatively normal poop.
One time on a flight to Japan, I opened up the bathroom door that wasn't locked, and there was a small Indian gentleman, old man, very old man, sitting there taking
Having
a
a
poop.
poop?
Yeah, and he freaked out, and I shut the door, and then somebody immediately did it to him right afterwards because I went back to my seat.
Yeah, like,
well,
lock the
come on,
door,
man,
for
don't you know how to
God's
lock the
sake.
door? But it was a spacious bathroom too.
But, so the show was fun or whatever, and then we had a good time. So I hung out with Nate when
Big
I was
Nate
there, had dinner with him, and then we met up the next day for lunch, and then we went bowling, which was fun. So, story about bowling.
Wait,
I'm predominantly a lefty in sports, right? I play hockey lefty, I bat lefty, I throw lefty, and all that kind of stuff. But I've always bowled with my right hand. And I was like, I'm a decent bowler or whatever. And then Nate pointed out, he's like, shouldn't you bowl with your left hand? And I'm like, maybe it's because I was taught how to bowl like this, and I started bowling with my left hand and bowled much better.
Really?
Yeah.
The innate skills were there.
It's very weird.
Very weird.
Kind of
Very
a serious
weird.
thing.
Very weird.
Anyway, the show was fun. Seattle's beautiful. I really think you can make the case that Washington is maybe the most beautiful state in its own way, like because it has that very alpine, that very like rainy kind of thing. I really love it. I know it doesn't have the geographic diversity of say California, but it is just driving, almost all the way to, Spokane or whatever. It's like,
It's pretty legit.
it's a really beautiful place.
They have the Ferris wheel. We did
Yeah.
that. That was beautiful.
Ferris wheel is very nice. Come out over the water.
Yeah.
They say they're going to take you around 3 times. You can get 5 out of them, no problem.
Yeah, no, that's
Just keep on going.
real easy.
Yeah.
While we were going, I was trying to figure out the process of how they get people in and off of a Ferris wheel.
Right.
And it's more complicated than you'd think, because there needs to be, if the people are up here, you can only get so many people on at a time.
Right.
So it's like you get in the 3. Does it go 1, 2, 3? Fill people up, fill people up, fill people up, fill people up. But then people are getting different experiences.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I figured it out.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Wow, that's
I
big.
did.
I never did. I thought about that for a second, and then I was
Yeah.
like, you know
And
what?
you're like-
I really don't give a shit enough about this.
I gave
to-
a lot of shits. I gave
All
a
right.
lot of shits.
Okay,
but what
good.
I gave even more shits about was Wings Over Washington, which, let me tell you what, Call, you would have loved this thing. This thing was, if you think Washington's beautiful, that's all this was. If you've been on Soaring Over California at Disneyland, it's the same thing, but for Washington, which I guess people are interested in that. You get into these seats, and then you put the little seatbelt on, and there's like a giant screen that is like a half globe situation.
Sure.
So you're
So it's all
surrounded
around
by
you.
screen, and then you kind of go up, and then you like turn so you feel like you're flying. They blow wind at you,
Yeah.
and then as you go over the different areas, they'll put
Sense.
smells
Yeah.
and stuff. You go down the little water, a little kayak like splashes water up at you, and then you just get kind of like water all over your face.
Baby tears.
It was awesome though, and this one had some new weird 3D projection thing where there was this fucking eagle, because up there they love their totem poles.
Where
Yes, they
hell-
do.
Where was this that you guys went to this?
This is right by the Ferris wheel, right down by Pikes,
Place.
whatever. Yeah,
Oh,
Pikes
okay,
Place.
okay.
Yeah, so there was a totem pole in the beginning, and all of a sudden that motherfucking eagle became real and like pops up in real life, and it's like this 3D hologram projection thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. You follow the eagle through. But it was pretty janky because whoever did the video editing on it, like,
Hard
no
cuts.
thought about segues or anything, no transitions. It was just hard cut between like, now we're in the water, now we're in the trees. And it's like, guys, come on, man.
Put some pride in your craft.
Especially for the price of that thing.
How much was it?
It was like $20 a person. Some bullshit, man.
thank you.
It would have been worth $10 a
Here's
person.
why Wings Over Washington is utter fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm walking down there. I leave the Pikes Market. There's the Starbucks. There's the Flowers. There's a little comic shop I didn't make it to, but there's all these other things going on, right? They're home. This is where they're throwing the fish. You ever watch The Real World?
Yeah, it's
Real
on.
World Seattle, and they throw the fish, and he does this. That's where we're at, all right? But you go out the back, you get to these touristy things or whatever, and I see Wings Over Washington, and I'm like, fuck yeah, here we go. Here comes a local Seattle wing joint sports bar with all the local brews and a whole bunch of great wings. And I get there, and it's some fucking
Nope,
goddamn...
it's a Disneyland ride.
I fucking hate this.
Minus the Disney magic.
Garbage.
That proved it to me. That's why Disneyland's awesome. And Wings Over Washington is just
But you had fun.
decent fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
no, it was great. It was a bit more technologically advanced than the Disneyland one, which
Sure.
I appreciated.
Sure.
But it was just, needs some more thought.
Since we're talking about PAX in such an abstract way and the way it changed our lives without us ever going to the show floor, let's for a second talk about Buffalo Blasters from Cheesecake Factory.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Have you ever had these, Colin? Have you ever had one of these things?
Yes.
He was there. He hates it when you forget him. Have you ever had a Buffalo Blaster?
I
from
don't know
Cheesecake?
that I have.
Because here's a truth.
Explain to me what it is. Maybe
If
I
I'm
have.
lying, I'm dying, ladies and gentlemen. I've never actually eaten at a Cheesecake Factory.
Really?
I think maybe once I walked in with somebody and they bought a cheesecake and we walked. I don't know,
Sure.
something like that.
Sure.
Maybe it was an
Over there.
event and they did the food there. I don't know what's happening. But you get there, and we went there because our friend Clark, aka Grimecraft, said, I want some Buffalo Blasters, and that's all I want. And him and Jen had them the year before, and they're making a big deal about these Buffalo Blasters. I'm like, well, what is a Buffalo Blaster? And they're talking to me about it. It's like buffalo chicken, deep fried. So like, the cheese in there and the buffalo chicken
Sure.
and deep fried. And so it sounds like, okay, cool. I've had buffalo egg rolls before. And this is gonna be the same kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm in. Don't get me wrong. We get there. Mouth's watering while I talk about it. I'm sorry. We get there. Big old crew of us, right? What, 8 total people there? That's how many we got? 8 people.
Solid 8.
We get there, and Grimecraft's like, well, I want my own thing of Buffalo Blasters. Like, that's how committed to the Buffalo. That's all I want to eat. I don't want a main course. I just want Buffalo Blasters. I'm like, well, fuck. If they're that good, we need a bunch because everybody's going to try these. And so we order 4 orders of Buffalo Blasters. Everything sounds like it's going to be great. Other people start.
I'm getting scared right now.
Tim negotiates to get his burger on a bagel. Something, and now...
The day before, Kevin and Gia were like, I'll be goddamned if I don't get a strawberry daiquiri.
Yeah.
So we're like, we got to find this. We went to like 5 different places like where Kevin was asking for these goddamn strawberry daiquiris.
Yeah.
Eventually, we go to
Cheesecake
Factory. They deliver in spades. We get a whole bunch of them. I look over to the guy next to me. He's eating a burger, but that burger's on a bagel. I love burgers. I love bagels. I knew I wanted that. So we go here. You're all trying to be like, we're just getting appetizers or are we getting real meals?
I was
I'm
trying
like,
to.
no.
We had a double date at a nice restaurant that night. I didn't want to blow it on. I want to know how much food we should appropriately eat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, insisted I get my little burger bagel.
Yeah.
Which was
And
fantastic.
but the woman's like, that doesn't happen.
She said that's not
you
a thing.
didn't
And
see
I'm like, I
that.
saw it.
So what I propose, Colin, is that in one of those "Are You Afraid of the Dark" moments, Tim saw future him eating the burger he would eat the next day over there on a bagel. But he gets it and he takes 2 bites of it and it's delicious, but he's already full.
It was great.
Because the waiter comes over and puts down 2 giant plates of Buffalo Blasters. And it turns out, I'm thinking these things are like cheddar poppers. They're like these triangles. Like they're like crab rangoon,
okay.
but they're buffalo chicken. And they are among the best things I've ever eaten in
Nick,
my life. But he puts the
you'd
2
love
down
them.
and they're heaping piles. And I'm like, are these all 4 orders combined into 2? And he's like, oh no, this is half of them. And then he went and got more, and like we were swimming in Buffalo Blasters.
So you brought some home for me?
No, we took them to the signing we did at the Rooster Teeth booth and gave them out to the kids.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fun
yeah.
too. Nothing like a surprise Buffalo Blaster when you're waiting in line.
Kids
for
were
the
we
signing.
got kids blasted at PAX.
You did.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
blasted
yeah.
some kids.
Right in their mouths.
Right in their
fucking
fucking
mouths.
Those things were like life changing though.
Yeah.
They were so good.
Colin,
I'm
are
never
we
gonna
lying or
get
dying?
anything else there.
They were
ever.
very tasty.
Yeah.
I like Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah?
I haven't been there in years, but yeah.
I don't like Cheesecake Factory. Like I've never had
Really?
great food there. Yeah, I've always had issues.
But did
with
this change it?
million things to order? They all taste like shit. This changed my mind.
Yeah.
These things were.
Yeah, their menu's too big. I mean,
It's too big.
That was like my my date spot in college because that was all I could afford. Like I didn't know anything about
That
nice
was
food. I didn't know
fancy in
anything, I didn't know
college,
anything
though.
about. Yeah, I mean, I used to go there once every few weeks, and
Yeah,
was like-
damn
and-
right you were.
and
New
that was
girl every 3 weeks.
yeah,
Simo away.
So it was like that was that always reminds me of that. So I haven't had it in many years because that's kind of like I remember this huge menu, ridiculous amount of options,
Yeah.
way too many options. You can cut this menu literally, and 1/10 of this menu would still be too big, but they insist on having everything possible. The one thing I wanted to see, so they own, I think Aaron and I were talking about this. We're pretty sure that they own those Lux Cafe things, or whatever, in Vegas.
Oh,
You know the one in the Venetian,
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
another one. Like we're pretty sure that that's the same
Might be the
company,
same restaurant group,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I want because like it's pretty much the same menu if you really
they
look
got
at
fucking Buffalo Blasters.
it. And I was like, I want a glimpse into their kitchen because it must be a goddamn shit show in there. Like it must be. There must be a guy that just does the pastas, right? There must be a guy that just does the burgers, and there must be a guy that does the pizzas and all. I'm like, it must be an insane kind of.
I bet, yeah, probably.
And the conventional wisdom in the food world is that you really don't make money on food. You make it on drinks. And these guys somehow do volume in food to such a degree that it's like a grocery store. Like their margin is like 4%, right? If you're Cheesecake Factory and you're selling that much food, 4% of your margin is actually a lot of money. So I would just really be interested to see the back end of how a restaurant like that runs as opposed to a restaurant like Nopa that has 10 appetizers and 7 entrees
Yeah.
and then a full bar, like which is really the appropriate way that you're supposed to,
You got, the thing I always get reminded of when I go to a Cheesecake Factory, though, is I'm like, there's 500 things on this menu. No way any of this stuff is fresh. Not at all. It's all shipped to them frozen. Everything's getting fried. That's pretty much it.
Sure.
'Cause you have to assume half that stuff.
I
is
feel
just
like that's every chain restaurant though.
Yeah, but I mean,
Chili's ain't out there picking the tomatoes off the vine.
I mean, Chili's is don't talk badly about Chili's. God bless Chili's. We love it. No, it's not fresh at all. Applebee's, same thing. It probably all
Applebee's,
the
come
food
on.
gets shipped to them in like the same style package. It's just a frozen package. They rip it open and throw it in a fryer.
And there's a major difference between fresh food and that kind of food, although I didn't know that when I was younger. But Cheesecake Factory is appropriately priced, and I think you kind of get what you pay for there. It was weird to be back there because I hadn't gone in many years. But
Now, are they a Pepsi restaurant or a Coca-Cola restaurant?
I think they are a
Coke.
Pepsi. Are they Coke
They're
restaurant?
Coke.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I remember the one thing I do remember from last time I ate at a Cheesecake Factory was that the sodas are huge. They give you. They're like this big. And I
No,
remember-
ours wasn't.
Were they not? No.
No,
like,
maybe
the last couple I
because it was
had
packed.
in California, I guess, were. I mean, there was like a fucking.
I felt like my Coke was really big. I mean, we're all the same size. Maybe it's
Well,
all
Tim's got
relative.
big hands.
I just like Coke.
I will say as an aside, today we went and got ramen. That ramen place is like 1/4 as good as the place we usually go. By the way, I just
Sure.
want to throw that out there.
I thought it was good though. I didn't think
it was
nearly as
fine.
good.
It was okay.
I'd eat there again.
But Yeah, I probably eat there again too because I'm profoundly lazy about finding food. But I ordered a Pepsi just to piss Tim off because I saw it in the thing. But I was telling Kevin it backfired on me completely because Pepsi's usually fine, but this was real sugar Pepsi, and I was like, "Fuck, I hate that shit." You know, and I didn't realize until I had already
Pepsi,
opened it. I didn't want to have some sort of conversation with a woman there about like, this is not, we're in America, we drink, Pepsi with fructose corn syrup. It's a whole thing. So.
Well, I think it might be harder to find that than you think, though, because I was up. I ordered a Diet Coke this weekend. They gave me a Diet Pepsi. That's all I had, unfortunately. At this place I was at, and I guess the can said no, we don't use aspartame anymore. So everything's. I guess they've switched over some of their sweeteners, which I wouldn't know because I'm not a Pepsi historian, nor will I ever be. But that was an interesting change of events. It was not good. I still don't like Diet Pepsi. And I prefer that someone take all the cans of Diet Pepsi and just shot put them into the fucking sun.
Throw them into space?
Yeah, throw those things into
don't need
space.
them.
They're useless.
Yeah.
Fucking Colorado, everywhere you go in Denver. Diet
there was
Pepsi
something else we
okay?
were gonna
No,
throw
it's
into
not
space once.
okay. What's that?
I feel like there was something else we were going to throw into space once.
Seems like we probably would have cut that out of the show. Trying to make an emergency landing on this plane and topic. PAX.
Yeah.
Video games, I saw a bunch on Monday. We'll talk about it on the Games Cast this week. I hosted a whole bunch of other panels. I was on the Podcast Beyond panel. That was great. Hosted a whole bunch of Square ones. Of course, Square sent us up there again, so we did Deus Ex Go. Kevin was the GoPro. Got to play and put a bunch of marshmallows in his mouth. He was fantastic at that.
That's what he does.
Yeah, it's what he does. Did the Deus Ex Mankind Divided panel with the voice cast. That was great. But most importantly was you hosted your first panel of all time.
I did.
South Park.
I wouldn't say that's most importantly.
I am. I'm allowed to say
Oh,
that.
I appreciate
I am
that.
in charge of the company.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I thank you all that came out to support me because that was really cool because they could have went to your guys' way more fun panel. Ours was a bit more, talking about the game.
Sure.
Or whatever. But it was cool. It was a very different experience for me, but I enjoyed talking to the panelists and like in the way that you have the relationship with these people.
Yeah.
We go to all these lunches with you all the time, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell they are, but it's like you have all these like in jokes and stuff. It's like I like the hour I spent with them before the panel made me really comfortable doing the panel.
Good.
Because I could just be like,
You already had an
shit.
established relationship.
Yeah, it was cool, and also there was a nice amount of our people out in the crowd.
100%.
So,
Yeah. Well,
being
South
there
Park,
for
that's
me,
going to draw.
holding it up.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody for all your support at PAX. You were fantastic. You came to that. You came to the meet and greet. You came to the party. We threw a party. Of
Party
course.
was so awesome.
Hard Rock with the Deus Ex Go folks. That was a really good one.
Yeah.
Crimecraft played there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Killed it.
Killed it as usual. But yeah, thank you so much for PAX, ladies and gentlemen.